Right, let's talk about Tamedware. Tamedware is an application where you can safely generate malware in order to test your IDEA or IOCs in your environment. So when you log in, when you open your installation, you will have a login page and you have a default account here. It's an admin account and you can create other accounts and work as a team. So for admin account, your username and password is admin. Let's go ahead and log in. Once we logged in, we are on the landing page. Here is called Cases, and here we have statistics about our platforms. Tamedware is supporting 3 different platforms, 2 different programming languages, and around 400 behaviors together with 1,000 functions. Here we can also see that total cases that your application has, and also cases that our account has, and cases in a list format. We have a demo case here. Let's go ahead and create our case. So let's call this Tamedware demo. This is just a demo, and let's choose a payload type. We can see platform and programming language. So let's choose Windows Python, click Save. Alright, so our demo case folder is created. Now as we can see that it's Windows Python. At the moment there is no DNA attached to that. And we can also see the creation time. Let's go ahead and review that. So once we navigate, we can see the case view where we can do the design. Here we have 3 different windows. On the right we see the behaviors. Behaviors that is going to be added to the malware. And on the left we can search any behaviors we want. And if you scroll down, we can see the statistics of our design. For example, we can see the maliciousness score, the unique DNA, attributes, categories, execution flow, and the noise. We will get back to this view once we start adding some behaviors. Here we can search or scroll down to review different behavior types. And we have around 5 different behaviors. For example, helper. It helps you to generate some random files to test. We have samples, which are just a full executable. For example, we have 5 samples of ransomware. These are mimicking ransomware behaviors. Or we can have micro behaviors. These are very small behaviors that gets different parameters. Micro behaviors are not necessarily malicious, but based on the parameter they get, they can be malicious. Next, we have malware behaviors. These are mostly malicious. For example, scheduling a task or searching a process are malicious most of the time. If we scroll down, we can see the lolbins. Lolbins is a living of the land binaries. They can be used for malicious purpose. Lolbins can be used to design your malware behavior. And the last type is atomic, and these are coming from Atomic Red Team. So all these mentioned behaviors be utilized in the Tamedware. Alright, let's go ahead and select some behaviors. I would like to download an executable. Let's search for download keyword. And here we have file downloading and download URL. We can extend them and read about it. Let's say download URL. Once we extend it, we can see that the ID of the behavior, the description of the behavior, and the tags. Here we can see type of behavior, a platform, programming language, and native library. Which means that once we compile this code, we don't need additional third-party libraries. Here we can see the input parameters that we need to provide, and if you scroll down here, we have two more sections to extend. These are malware category and malware attributes. Malware category for reviewing malware family, like what kind of malware family is using this behavior, and in what way they use this behavior. For example, Trojans, they also use this behavior. Let's extend attributes. We have 5 different categories. These are persistence, stealth, obfuscation, host noise, and network noise. Here you can see the impact and the score overall. So once you keep adding your behaviors, the statistic will form. Let's go ahead and add this one. So we clicked add and our behavior appeared here. So we can also extend here and start changing the parameter. But let's do that a bit later. So now we have download URL and we would like to have a copy file behavior. So for copy file, I will just click here and I will say add. And now I have copy file behavior. And last one, I would like to add execute file. I will just search for execute file. We have now added 3 behaviors. We can basically reorder them by drag and drop. For example, we can first do some copy operation and then execute file. But let's make it logical, and first we would like to download it and then copy that file. We can change the name and then we will execute it. So if you look at the parameter, it's connecting to this URL and downloading the content and saving it as downloaded.txt. So here we can change the source as downloaded.txt. Destination as system32.xo. Now we are just copying this file in the same directory and giving a new name. And lastly, we would like to execute this file. Let's go ahead and delete all this and just say system32. Now we have these 3 behaviors. They are kind of chained, and we will go ahead and save it. At the moment this is yellow, which means it's under development. Once we save that, it is going to be green. Green means these behaviors are attached to your malware. Let's scroll down and see the maliciousness score here. So, this is calculated based on the behavior categories we just mentioned, but we can also see them here. For example, the first one is the DNA. This just shows the unique DNA, the unique behavior that we used in our design. If you look at the attributes, we can see that all 5 categories with different score. And next one is category. Now we can see that botnet, ransomware, spyware, Trojan, virus, and worms, they are using these behaviors. We also got hit for adware, keylogger, and cryptominer. The rootkit is only one using 2 of these behaviors. So here we can see what kind of malware we are designing. Let's look at the flow. And here we just need to render and see the main function. And then the download URL function, copy file, and execute this file. And now if we look at the noise, we can see that the first one is making network noise. Other two behaviors are making host noise. So we can keep adding more. For example, let's add one full sample behavior. And now we added this ransomware behavior. As you can see that we have more fields. For example, the endpoint, wallpaper, encryption key length, directory to target, ransomware note. And lastly, targeted file extensions. And we can also go ahead and click randomize button to add some random behaviors to our case. Let's add, but we are not going to save them, right? So we can just remove them and keep first design. We can download the report of saved behavior. So report is basically listing all metadata, the name of the case, when it is created, and list of behaviors, etc. Let's go ahead and try to open the report. It might not open on this host. Let's try. Yes. So this is the malware development report with metadata descriptions and list of behaviors and parameters you provided. Let's now play with our malware code. We will go ahead and download this sample. Simply by clicking download button next to report. Let's extract it. The password is always infected. Here it is, our file. Let's open and see what is there. So here we can see that we have 3 functions. So this is first function, the second function, and third function plus the main function, and the parameter that we provided. It just rendered our input and generated this code. Now we would like to go ahead and explore evasion. Let's try to obfuscate this code. We can navigate the evasion page, and we can select the programming language. And here we have 3 sections. The first section is the type of evasion, the statistics, and our input code. Lastly, our output code. So we will go ahead and select all this and copy. Come here and click OK. For example, we would like to encode this code to base 64. I'll just paste it here and let's go and say modify. And here you can see that this is just encoded the malware code. And it gives us an executable Python code. If you want, we can use encryption. Let's do XOR. You can see that the statistic is changed. We can go ahead and modify. And this code is itself an executable. Let's go and say that we want to do some kind of pollution. I would like to pollute this with variable and with medium level. I'll just say modify. And here I will just copy this one. And here we see that this is our original code. Let's come here and paste it. You can see that we added a lot of junk code here. But this is very easy to catch as this is just gibberish and gibberish. But let's go some advance and use smart variable. Let's say that we want to add some smart variable. You can see that readability is increased. Let's modify and come here and copy our modified code. I will go ahead delete this one and paste our new modification. Now this is better. We can see that our words or variables are more meaningful. And we have also a lot of commands here. This is making it a bit harder to do static analysis. Also, this code has no impact to actual execution flow. It's just staying in the memory, and we can also do this for the import. For example, if we go and we say that give me some import pollution, I'll just say go ahead and modify. And now we can even here see that we have a lot of standard library imports. So we can copy and review it here better. I'll paste this and here it is, there's a lot of imports. So with that you can basically obfuscate your code. As we saw, there are different encoding, encryption, compressing and pollution algorithm ready to use. And this can be used to obfuscate our code. Let's go and check now the DNA menu. The DNA menu is a big search view where we can search all behaviors. For example, if we want to see any behaviors that makes HTTP request, we can just put HTTP here and see that we got bunch of Windows macro or malware types behaviors. We can see behaviors for Mac, for Linux too. So this is a huge table to search. For example, if you say I want to see any hashing related behaviors, we can see that there is a bunch of micro, malware and atomic behaviors for different operating systems. So sometimes these are very good to have in your malware to test some kind of behavioral pattern. Alright, so this is a DNA. Let's go to War Room. So War Room is basically offensive and defensive behavior simulation to see what impacts what. This can help you to design your malware based on. And you can also play with this beautiful spider. And let's go to Tamedware. This is a place where you can see the different views. And the first one is a list of malware families, the famous malware families. For example, if we go to ransomware, and we can select WannaCry and read about WannaCry. Its type, language and platform. And high-level behaviors. So if you want to design a Trojan, you can come here. And you can go ahead and add this behavior to your malware. And we also have Sticks, which is coming from MITRE ATT&CK, where you can simply search all known MITRE ATT&CK malware. For example, you can search anything, malware name, description or platform. Let's say if we say Android, we can see that there is like 6 Android malware here. You can just go ahead and read about them. Security vendors, they published about this malware, so this is also very helpful. If you want some external documents about the malware that you want to design. The last view here is Settings. Settings is basically place where you change your name, last name, email or password while you're working with your team, right? This is Tamedware. Thank you for watching.